Danny on the beat, boy.
Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. Your host, Eddie Arnell, my man, G. Witt, Mr. J. Luce. What's going on, gentlemen?
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, man. Here we are. Week 15, guys, back at it again. What can you say about the two-tone blue, man? Seems like we say the same thing every week, but Titans come off a high from last Monday night, beating the Dolphins at home. Could they put two in a row in? Me and J. Lou kind of talked about that just now, early in the week. Pop-Tart got released. That was J. Lou's boy, man. Titans have officially been eliminated as a result. Texans 19, Titans 16. Excuse me, I can't talk name. Overtime. Guys, eliminated from playoff contention. Finally, J. Lou, 3 takeaways as you sat out in the cold weather today. And watch the Titans to give that game away.
Let's see. Typical Titans. We played a third string quarterback in Case Keenum, and you let him hang around, and that's why your season is evidently over with 3 games left. So typical Titans. We're used to seeing them do that. I think Monday gave everybody false hope. Monday was a reminder that it is the NFL. Any given Sunday or Monday, anybody can win. I mean, you saw Carolina get their second win today. So this is just a bad football team. Been a bad football team all season. Try to tell them in the off season. There's holes. I got on here Monday or last week, and I said that I was probably giving Timothy Kelly a pass.
Don't think you want to do that no more.
I'm torn, man. I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna tell you the reason why I'm torn. Is it so much now? Before I preface this, I know Tim Kelly's the offensive coordinator. I know he calls the plays, but how much of it is him calling the plays, and how much of it is that head coach of his in his ear telling you what we're going to run? So think about the back of the last couple of Titans offensive coordinators we've had. The one consistent has been Mike Vrabel. This team is predicated, and like clockwork, you can almost guarantee that when a Mike Vrabel team gets a 2-touchdown lead, we want to sit on the ball and run Derrick Henry. How much of that is Vrabel, and how much of that is offensive play calling? And again, today's play calling, I don't know what tip. We ran the Wildcat from the 50-yard line before the 2-minute warning. I don't know what we were thinking, but I wonder how much of that is just you never know how it comes from the top. But I'm at the point now where I like to see an entire new coaching staff. Maybe you just got to change the whole thing up, because if the last 3 offensive coordinators have had the same philosophy, and today was no exception when you ran the ball over and over and over again for negative. Derrick Henry was hitting the backfield the entire time. It's time to move on from D. Henry. We're not doing that. So how much of that again is because of the man in charge? That's why I was leaving the game. And then third, man, I'm just going to go ahead and give him his flowers because it's probably his last season with us. Denico Autry has by far, he's got to easily be, and again, I'm not trying to use recency bias, but he's got to be at least the top 3 free agent pickup in Titans history. Easily top 5. I think G. Whitney, you would have to say that too. I think easily top 5 in the entire Titans history of what he's meant being a free agent pickup, and just to see him continue to battle. I believe he set a career high today with sacks, and I was wondering why they were trying to get the ball after the play, and that's what made sense after the game hearing it. But easily the top 5, and you hate to see it in like this form. I mean, this is the earliest. Think about this. This is just how crazy this season has been. This is the earliest that a Vrabel team has been eliminated from playoff contention. We're used to going down to the very last week. We got a whole 3 weeks left of football, and we're done. So, but that's probably my 3 takeaways today, Ed.
Go ahead, G. Witt.
All right, it's not complicated. I've been saying it for the past few weeks, and I'll stick by it. I will say this, and I said it earlier. Like I said, in the past 3 weeks, they need to have a Mike Mularkey, Mike Munchak conversation with Vrabel once the season is completely done. His offensive coordinator was just, there's no other way to put it, but he was just being stupid today. Anytime you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that is the epitome of insanity. And he was completely stupid today. And Mike Vrabel was stupid for allowing it to happen. I'm just going to put it that way. Right. I thought that was just, it just didn't make any sense what the play caller. I mean, everybody in the stadium knew on first down they were going to run the ball. Everybody knew. And then on top of that, he goes back to the same pattern as he who shall not be named in running, having a run game with only 2 receivers going into running routes. And all of a sudden you're going to run play action with 2 receivers running route who aren't your fastest receivers or the ones who are known for getting open. And plus you made it easier for their secondary to play that zone because they just covered every place. You got a rookie quarterback who doesn't know where to go with the ball. So it was just coaching stupidity by the offensive coordinator and the head coach. I'm going to say it was also, even though I thought they did okay player-wise, individual player-wise, but obviously one of the things, and to me, it was just, I hated to see it when it happened. And if he was a bad attitude or anything like that, still you could have hung on to him to the end of the season. At least it would have showed up your run defense. Your run defense was horrendous today. Absolutely horrendous. And you really just proved how valuable Pop-Tart was, because when he was out early in the season, that's when you were giving up 150, 160 yards a game rushing. And today, what did you give up? 148. So let's just be honest about it. You don't have any other run stoppers other than Big Jeff, in all honesty, to actually play against the run. And they usually double and triple team him. And really, he shouldn't play for the rest of the year, just try to get recovery on that knee. Special teams was horrible today, I thought. Again, we had another missed PAT, which really ended up costing us the game again. And you look at it from this standpoint, you can't blame it on the holder, because you had the same holder that you had last week. Punting, we saw how much we missed Stonehouse today. I mean, it was Stonehouse booming it, and sometimes kicking it through the end zone. At least you had good coverage. You had good hang time. You didn't even have good hang time today. Yeah. So really, those 3. The bottom line is, and again, with the season being done, as far as any quote unquote glimmer of trying to make the playoffs, Rand and Amy should be looking at the coaching staff, and the coaching staff should be looking at players who's going to stay, who's going to go. The King is already gone. You already know that, because he's not. I wouldn't come back to this trash that we got going on right here. So the King is already gone. I don't know if anybody else is going to come back. I don't know if D-Hop wants to come back. Other than that, man, you're going to be looking at players, man. You got to be looking at the waiver wire and everything for the offseason to see who you can get. Because right now, Tim Kelly, he's trying to run an offense with a trash offensive line, and he's running the same thing as he that shall not be named, with a worse offensive line.
Thank y'all for joining us tonight, man. A lot of questions, a lot of comments rolling through, man. We're going to try to address every one of them. So appreciate y'all coming tonight, man, supporting the show. So my takeaways were, let's talk about something real quick. Let's talk about first down plays. Yeah. Very interesting stat. Here, pass to Henry, 3 yards. Henry run, 2 yards. Minus 3 yards, Henry run. No gain, Henry. Spears, 1 yard. Now, the biggest play was pass to Burks, right? And J. Luke, again, they brought a little tear to my eye. I saw the glance play twice today.
Yep.
Henry, 5 yards. Pass to Henry, minus 3. Minus 2 yards. Minus 2 yards. Minus 7 yards. 2 yards. So, again, running the ball on first down consistently throughout the game, especially in the second half, man. It's just
stupid.
Crazy. Offensive line regressed more than last week. I thought last week they played okay, but this week they just look like they gotten worse than what we've ever seen. Probably about the first of the year when they first started playing together. And then defensively, like you said, missed tackles, Pop-Tart being gone, 148 yards rushing on the ground for the Texans today. And so, again, it goes back to coaching. You got a offensive line coach, although he doesn't have a whole lot to work with, but you got a guy that was like a tight end coach, never coached the offensive line, and this is what you get, right? You don't have a lot of talent in your O-line, and so now you really have to coach him up, and you just don't have the experience to coach him up, man. So I can't say enough about Danico J. Lou. I was happy to see that, man. I hate that he's the point of his career that he's not going to come back here more than likely, but he's playing probably some of the best football for a defensive lineman I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
He's your most legit pass rusher outside of Harold Landry and Jeff when he's out there. But man, he was bringing the fire today. And so let's look at the offense, guys. Not a lot to be gleaned from the offense today. 204 yards total. 5 of 15 on third down, 138 passing yards, 7 sacks, 1 for 2 in the red zone. G, with anything else you want to talk about the offense today from the day's game?
Well, there's really not much more you can add to that. I mean, the stats just show it was an exhibition of stupidity. I'm just gonna call it like it is. It's just an exhibition of stupidity because, again, it goes back. You're running the same thing. Here's the thing that bothers me more than anything else. You keep running the same plays, expecting something different, and you're doing it week in and week out. And it's to the point to where the defense gets off the ball, the opposing defense gets off the ball and gets through the hole quicker than the running back does. And it's not because Derrick Henry can barely. It shades of what was going on with Chris Johnson. The ball gets put in his gut and he gets tackled. I mean, it was just coaching stupidity, and that's all it is to it. I mean, there's no kind way to put that in that game today. There's no kind way to put that. I mean, I can't even give them like you got a weak offensive line. A good coach compensates for that. I'm just gonna say a good OC will compensate for that. And
we've been saying it all year.
Yeah, and what we have is the same thing we had the last 2 years. We have a trash OC. And again, that reflects on the head coach. Like I said, Jim Schwartz probably gave the best compliment and the greatest condemnation about Mike Vrabel. When they asked him how he was, Mike Vrabel's a great game manager. That's all he said. He didn't say he was a great coach. Mike Vrabel has a good feel for the game or when to go and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like setting up a game plan, running the offense, running the defense, he can't do none of that.
No.
And he's not good at special teams either. I mean,
Definitely.
So bottom line is, I'm at the point right now to today that, I tried to stay with them, but it's a revisit of Jeff Fisher. That's what I'm seeing without the sunglasses being on the sideline.
Well, he got to win his Sunday outside.
Yeah. It's basically it's just a second coming of the pretty, and there's a reason why players when they leave they putting stuff out on Twitter talking about thank God and I'm getting to go somewhere else because something's going on with that coaching staff that's making those players be that way. Disgruntled as they may be, something's going on that coaching staff that's making them feel that way.
J. Lou, you mentioned something last week, and Eddie Gray hit it again today. He said, you can't do anything if you can't control the line of scrimmage. How many times did Derrick Henry get tackled near the handoff?
Exactly.
And so you mentioned last week, J. Lou, that the offensive line is not built to run power run game.
So we were talking about it in my area where I was sitting. This offensive line is built to help with pass blocking because that's what you want to change to. And we talked about in the offseason, we thought you'd see some more outside zone type of pull runs. We haven't seen none of those since the beginning of the season. And you continue to try to run north and south right through the A and B gaps. And to G Wood's point, I don't know how the defensive lineman is just not taking the snap because they're back there. They're back there so fast. Will Levis today was hit on 49% of his dropbacks.
Yeah.
Like, just think about that. And I mean, when you look at his passing efficiency, I think he was decent, halfway decent when you look at the efficiency. But 49% dropbacks. Eddie pointed out about, that getting your rookie quarterback is what got Whisenhunt fired. Vrabel's on that verge. Now, and somebody mentioned it earlier, looking at the comments about Peter. I thought this was his worst game. I don't know if he's playing through an injury. You don't know how You know, he lost some strength when he had
appendicitis
at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
So because I really thought that this was his worst game by far. And to your point about the offensive line regressing, I thought you saw shades of Levis being a rookie. There was a few throws he missed.
Yes.
He's still going to have to learn, and he's just a young dumb rookie. And I don't mean dumb by that. I'm just young and dumb. He's got to learn that you don't have to take contact. I mean, he's still looking for contact when he's running instead of sliding. But overall, so we want to look for a few positives. I will say two positives I saw at it. It was good to see Burks involved. I think 3 of 62. Good. Why he was wide open several times. That we just don't look at him. Yeah. And then this is like easily the 4th game in a row, at least the last month, that Chig has caught the ball, hasn't dropped it, and played pretty well. So at this point, you start to turn the page to start looking for 2024, and you want to see over these next 3 games if your rookies and your second-year players can go ahead and take that next step, especially your skilled players, to kind of have some type of momentum for them going into the offseason. But outside of that, the offensive play calling, again, Tim Kelly, he is the offensive coordinator, and he's got to take the blunt of it. But when I sat back and I heard it on the radio, it really dawned on me, when you think about the last 3 offensive coordinators, the head coach has been the same. You had the same philosophy. So how much of it is you're just the offensive coordinator entitled, and I let you run a little bit of it, but this is my quote unquote, I'm head coach. This is my philosophy. This is what we're going to do. Because I mean, we said the same thing last year when you think about it. How many times did we complain last year about them not rolling Tannehill out? Right. We saw that was his strength when Arthur Smith had him, the rollouts, the bootlegs. Then all of a sudden, the difference, I think, between Arthur and these other two, Arthur wasn't probably as much of a yes man as the other two. And then you got them other 2 in there. I mean, because I think we rolled Will Levis out 1 time today. It was the interception. Maybe 2. I know one of them was the interception that he threw, but we're not, to me, we're not doing the things that we saw these non-yes men type OCs have. The good ones that G would point out, and the ones we have now, he just shall not be named, and Kelly, I feel like they're just a long arm extension of Vrabel.
And look, just back on the Peter Skoronski, I was thinking about him on the way home, and the one thing I thought about him was that it's very possible with him, with all the plan that he has done, he's hit that rookie wall.
Yeah, 100% agree. I would 100% agree.
Wall, and you could tell in his play because he's getting trucked when he wasn't getting trucked early in the season.
Yes.
So that's the one thing I see about him as far as that's concerned. And I would say this, the last 3 coordinators was Arthur Smith, he that shall not be named, and who we got right now. And I would say this, at least Arthur Smith, granted he had Derrick Henry, he was running them good, but he did the smart thing that no one else seems to want to do, is that he's ran play action 70% of the time. And it always ended up with Derrick Henry running at the end of the game because we weren't teams out. But like you said, we don't have an offensive line that's built to run.
No,
for one, they're too light in the tail for one part of it. And even if they were running a zone blocking scheme, it still wouldn't work because you have offensive linemen that cannot move any defensive linemen. That's just all there is to it. And you saw that all today throughout the entirety of the game. But really, that's the big difference. I give Arthur Smith more of a pass because at least he was smart enough to run play action 70% of the time.
Yeah.
And get the best out of it. These last 2, for some reason, and it may be a Vrabel thing. He may be that ignorant. When your quarterbacks are better running play action and you decide, I want them to be dropped back and just stand in the pocket and do this and that. Mm-hmm. He may just be that ignorant. And I'm just going to call it like it is because right now, this team is not looking good at all.
I will say this. Today, I think Will Levis took a step back because he was holding the ball, staring down receivers a lot today. Mm-hmm. He actually had some time to get rid of the ball. You can tell he was locked in the D-Hop a lot today. Don't know if they were trying to force feed the ball to him or what.
Especially the second half. You got to remember, D-Hop went into halftime with 1 target, no catches.
Right. And I know I saw Treylon Burks running free at least 2-3 times down the field.
Yes. He was getting in good cardio.
Yeah, but he also, I mean, I think with the D-Hop, I think he just, granted, D-Hop is his comfort, is his safety blanket, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's one thing he's just comfortable with. And yeah, he forced it, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He missed a lot. But I think also a lot of that has to do with the fact he was getting hit a lot too. And I could see the panic in him when he was stepping back there, even though he had chances to throw people open. He had some panic in him today, just from getting hit so much.
17 of 26 for 199 for Will today, sacked 7 times. Spears 9 for 30. Derrick Henry 16 for 9. I don't even know if I could ever say that before for anybody.
Worst day ever.
Let alone for the King. 3 for 62 for Treylon, leading receivers. 3 targets. Chris Moore had 4 targets, 3 for 39. Chig 3 for 36. D-Hop 2 for 21. Ugly output for the offense today, but what you expect when your offensive line and your play calling is that terrible. Yeah, Virgil, they don't make adjustments. Don't know why. It's been like that forever, and it's baffling to me that you got a different coach, different regime, but it looks like the old school stuff.
All the same thing. Like,
and so let's flip over to the side, over the defense side of the ball. Jay Lewis, tell me something about the defense that you saw today. Let's look for some positives if we can about the defense today.
Yeah, I thought that outside of the run game, I thought the D line. I felt like they started mixing up some pressure in the second half. We were still running too soft of a zone, and they were eating that up. But it's like the light bulb switched after the third drive for Houston, and they realized that they could run the ball, and they literally just ran it down your throat, then averaging about 6 or 7 yards a pop. But I thought they held up. I thought the back half played okay. Now again, Houston doesn't have, and that's what irritated me out there so much was Miami had folks that could get by you, and you played a better tighter zone than today when you're playing. Like there was twice that I saw the cornerback lined up with the safety. Yep. It's deep together. So again, we're not going to talk about that coordinator because we all think he should be gone. And then I really thought he was, with the flu earlier yesterday, he went on I told y'all last night that Azeez was going to be questionable. I thought you saw that they've got to find a way to bring him back. You've got to get another speed running linebacker with him, but he was just all over the field and trying to make plays. And then again, I can't say nothing else about Danico. I thought Harold again was playing well. When you're rotating in the 6th, 7th round pick guys, 6th, 7th round strings guys you just picked up this week to play defensive line, it's going to take its toll on them. But again, overall, and I'll tell you one other thing on the defense that I like to see, and it just goes to somebody asked about motivation and plan for next year. You're a leader on this team, and it's time to go ahead and turn it over. There's a reason you let Kevin Byard go. There'll be a reason if you let Derrick Henry walk, why he can walk. Jeffrey Simmons, this is Jeffrey Simmons' team now. I really think part of Pop-Tart leaving had to do with some of Jeffrey's comments a few weeks back. I'll leave that out there for y'all, but I'm almost positive of some of that. But just seeing Jeffrey Simmons out there coaching, he was with the defense the whole time on the sideline, coaching the young guys up, even talking to the offense. That's what you want to see from a leader. And I think just that's some positives to continue to move forward. Because if you look around this team, the same thing around Tyjae Spears, he was doing the same thing on the sideline as well at Levis. So you've got some stuff to build on. We've just got to find an entire new defensive scheme because again, it's the players, the scheme, the whole nine. It has to be scraped. And again, we heard all offseason about speed. We lied about that. That's the one thing we didn't get. But the few positives will be just how overall some of these know that. Because if you think about it, the defense gave up 1 touchdown.
Yep.
They gave up only 1 touchdown the entire game. So you give up 1 touchdown, you give up 19 points in the NFL. You should win 75% of the time. We have lost every single time this year.
If you can score,
if you can score. So literally, and I mean, it's telling that the thing you have to worry about now is friction in the locker room. I read a thing after the game that Danico and Arden Key both declined interviews, and they never have done that. I think today was that turning point where the defense was better just keep their mouth closed and not have the friction with the team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And so 340 yards of total offense for Houston. So, hey, by the way, did you see how, and somebody mentioned it earlier, and they mentioned it about Danico Ryans being comfortable on the sideline. But you see how comfortable Case Keenum was in the pocket majority of the game. And here's another interesting stat for this team. 6 losses this season alone by 1 score. So think about that. It ain't like, we had the blowout games, right? The Cleveland Browns and of that sort. But the other games, to lose by 1 score, consider how bad this team is talent-wise. I don't know, man.
That lets you know that the future can be bright. Because literally, you flip them 1-score games, you looking at, almost 8-9 wins?
Yeah, you're in the playoffs.
You're in the playoffs.
Yeah. And so, the little thing, to me, that comes down to the coaching. Those are little things. Little details get you beat.
Yes.
Running a Wildcat like right before the half, and you're not even set and ready to go, and people just,
I was like, call timeout. My whole thing was like, call timeout, because nobody knows what they're supposed to be.
Doing stuff like that.
That's the same thing he that shall not be named did last season. The exact same thing. Running the Wildcat in the middle of the field. Why?
Missing the block, getting a costly penalty when you've made a stop on defense.
Yeah.
You go on and on. 1-score games. In those 1-score losses, those are the things that get you beat. The missed extra point, the missed field goal, the missed tackle, so on and so forth. But go ahead, G-Way, about the defense. Go ahead.
Here's the thing that really got us beat. Missed turnovers.
Yeah, 3 interceptions today.
Man.
Missed turnovers. You had 1 pick 6, but the rest of them, how many did you miss?
3.
3.
Avery missed 1, and McCrary missed 2. He had 1 taken away from him.
McCrary got 1 taken.
But that's what I'm saying. You have those missed turnovers. Those missed turnovers destroy you. You got to make those. Now, granted, I'm not hard on McCreary because I think McCreary is just a flat-out baller. Yeah, he's just a flat-out baller. I will say again, I thought, Danico, he had a great game. Harold Landry had a good game. I didn't understand them really taking him out all the time. It was driving me nuts, especially when you had him in 2nd and long or 3rd and long. I'm like, dude, really? You're going to take out your best pass rushers? That's the same as starting off on the offensive side. You starting off with Derrick Henry as your running back, and your receiver is, Chris Moore and NWI, and
you had McKenzie out there one time with
tight end out there. Come on, that's just ridiculous. Really, you got D Hop and Treylon Burks on the sideline on 1st down, just stupid. But anyway, overall, I thought they did good. Again, they just couldn't stop the run. That really hurt them. I will say this: there were a couple of times where Houston's OC was pretty stupid as well, because there's absolutely no way, with the way I'm running the ball, gashing you, that I'm going to put the ball in the hands of Case Keenum in overtime when you got plenty of time to run the ball. He ran 3 straight pass plays, and that was coaching malpractice on his part. But then again, we bailed him out. So just to think about those things like that. Defensively, like I said, Danico had a good game. I thought the run defense was, a couple of guys, they had some good plays, but Harold Landry played good. Rashad Weaver played good, I thought. Still had way too many missed tackles, though. And, quiet as kept, I went back and looked at the Dolphins game. You had a ton of missed tackles in that game, too. That's been a hallmark of this team all season. There's been a lot of missed tackles.
Let's go back to last season. They missed tackles last year.
A lot of missed tackles.
What's the common denominator? Bowen. Not saying Bowen's out there making the tackles, but again, that's coaching.
That's coaching, because it goes back to what I used to say when the Pretty was out there. You're allowing it to happen.
Yep.
You allowing it. So that's all on the coaching staff and everything. But other than that, I thought overall pass defense was not bad, except for playing that soft zone when you got, like you said, Jay Lou, the corners lined up as far back as the safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some things about these defensive schemes and everything. It just does not make any sense whatsoever. It really doesn't. So, but other than that, I thought some players played good. Again, I have no problem with McCreary. He's always out there balling. Yeah, he makes mistakes, but he's also out there trying real hard. I thought really that, with the exception of that last play in overtime, I thought Molden actually played a good game.
Mhm.
You know, granted, Avery is not that good in coverage, but the one good play he did have, the referee the official took it away from him. You know, there was no way that was pass interference on him on that play. There's absolutely no way. But really, on a lot of them, it's just defensively. You know, they held them to 19 points. When you talk about overtime, 4 field goals, 1 touchdown.
Yes.
You really can't be that ticked off about the defense. I'm going to say from the player standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, they played, they held them as best they could, but you know, there's only so much. I mean, eventually you knew they were going to get a touchdown. You know, eventually it's hard to keep an NFL team from scoring, especially if they're pretty decent. And Houston's been decent for a while, so.
Yeah, Darius. Maybe he can talk Autry back in, but you know, this is probably his last contract he's gonna get, so he's gonna try to get as much money as he can. Don't know if they'd be willing to pay him that much to stay, but it would be nice if he would stay, man. He's playing under the elite level right now, and that's pretty. Like you said, Jay Lee, one of the best free agent pickups we've had in a long time. So it did, Joe. I agree with you, Joe, man. It did seem like they were playing for a tie. I said it too during the game.
Yeah, after the first drive, they definitely were.
Yep.
Right. And so yeah, you know, it is what it is. You know, do we see Big Jeff back? Probably not. We don't know. We'll see. I would think he would want to play just because of the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
Special teams again is a killer, missed extra point, and then we had some bad punts by our punter today. But that's what you get when you don't protect the punter. You had the MVP of your football team.
Yeah.
You get him hurt, and here we are. AFC South, man. Look over. This turns into a 3-team race. Everybody's sitting at 8-6. Well, the Jags 8-5. They play the Ravens tonight. I don't expect them to beat the Ravens, but I could be wrong. Been wrong before.
But they played in Jacksonville, so it's a shot.
With Trevor Lawrence a little gimpy, it should be a feast on for the Ravens defense. And so Eddie Gray says if Vrabel wants to drop back passing, that alone should be a reason to fire him.
Agreed.
Diaz says these play calls and schemes on both sides of the balls all Vrabel. I want him gone out of the season. I'm banging that table. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. You know, it goes back to when Vrabel was the so-called DC, and he didn't have a DC, but that defense sure looks similar, don't
it? It's the same.
It's the exact same.
It's the same.
It's the same defense.
But again, we knew Vrabel wasn't a DC when he was the DC for that 1 year in Houston.
Yeah.
What did we say when they hired him? He needs to find a good offensive coordinator and a good defensive coordinator. And he's flunked at both of those right now.
And I think Eddie Gray, he's also said the zone should be illegal. Like I said, I think they should just play press man the whole game. Why not? I mean, what do you have to lose now?
They had nobody out there that could beat you, burning you.
Right. Another week like that.
Yeah, and you were giving him 10-yard cushions.
No,
you was afraid of Bobby Trees, really?
Well, my question is, why you keep consistently putting Gibbons in coverage?
Oh my gosh, that too.
Look, I would just play Terrell Edmonds.
Yes.
Why not?
On especially on passing downs. Especially.
Yes.
Why not? Terrell Edmonds, he hadn't even seen the field. He hadn't seen the field in what? How many weeks since he got here?
He played a little today, but it was very little. I think he was.
Yeah, so I'm like, what's going on there? We don't know where Kearis Jackson is. Another Jamarco Jones issue there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Nathan. At least Landry wasn't encouraged. But you know who was encouraged today? Danico. Yo, baby.
Yeah, Danico.
I'm telling you, you just got to call it what it is. It's just stupid coaching. Bottom line, it's just stupid.
You're right. It's got to come
until they can prove it otherwise. If play improves or whatever, you got to call it what it is. That's just stupid.
Come down to the conversation about the coaches. It's going to have to. By the way, let's say this. We're going to stop calling them. I know we want to be mad and stuff, but they're coaches and we're not. So let's don't call them ignorant and stupid and stuff. Okay, we know what it is, but I just we're not in the NFL. And there's a reason why they are, and we're not.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck,
I understand.
It's a duck.
But we're on the sideline for a reason. So,
well, okay, all right. I agree. They know more than I do, but I've been watching football long enough to know the difference between good coaching and bad coaching.
Oh yeah, but they're coaching and we're not coaches.
Now, I agree.
They're in the NFL.
I agree.
And we're
they
not.
know more than I do.
We
but
didn't
I
play
know
NFL.
the difference between good coaching and bad coaching. And we're not seeing good coaching right now.
Call stupid plays like that. But anyway, man, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustment. Seahawks this weekend coming up, guys. What's your take? Geno Smith and the Seahawks rolling into town. Pete Carroll still in the thick of the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be so everybody who's the next 3 weeks will make or break Vrabel, can change Amy's minds on Vrabel, I think. If he starts to lose the locker room, then I think you can see her make some changes. Because again, I really think that the only conversation that's going to be had is no more promoting within, and let's go find you some better coordinators. I think that conversation will be had. But this is the first time in the Vrabel tenure that he's ever had to go through another 3 weeks of playing meaningless football. Because you're playing for nothing. I mean, yeah, everybody says they playing for pride. Okay, yeah, whatever. But you're playing for, that come January the 8th is locker cleanout day over at Ascension Sports Park. Like,
it could be office cleanout day too.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out. I think that you start to see, now that you know for a fact that you're not in the playoffs, do you take a different approach to start evaluating some more younger players? I know a lot of people saying that you shouldn't play Will Levis. I definitely, even though I feel like he'll get killed behind his line, I think you play him. I think you play him for the simple fact of you want him to get the experience. It's growing pains for him. Like he threw that pick to D-Hop. If he has the same play next week, I guarantee it's not a pick because of him learning those things. So, but now I preface that by saying you've got to. What's wrong with changing your offense now when you have nothing to lose? I feel like you should do that with him.
Sacrificial lamb, Eddie Gray.
Yeah, Malik's gonna be on the sideline with the hand warmers. I don't think they're gonna do that to him.
And he don't want to play. I can tell you that.
No, he don't. No, but if you look at Tannehill, I told everybody Tannehill was praying that he didn't have to go out there behind that line. But I think you start evaluating some of the young guys on both sides of the ball and starts building your roster on what you can have next year. I will tell you, I think that you see over the next 3 weeks a lot more of Derrick Henry for the simple fact that he feel like he's been stuck on 150 yards for the last 3 games, but he's very, very close, about 150 yards or less to 1,000. Mm-hmm. So I think that you try to get him that. So you'll see some of that. But at this point in time, I think it's time to start shifting the philosophy and shifting towards 2024. Yeah, I like that, Nathan.
Eddie Gray says, "Nah, man, they in the NFL because of nepotism and politics." That's the truth behind it too.
Hey, look, I'll be honest with you, and I agree with you. You start looking at players, but you also got to start looking at your coaches as well. I mean, bottom line is you got to start looking at them because, you want Levis out there, you want him getting the experience and everything. I'm in total agreement with that. But you have got to start calling a better offense to keep him from getting killed. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You got to call a better offense. Having him to drop back to stand there and not move around to give him some room to keep him from getting tagged like he has been. I mean, you almost got his knee tore up today when he got rolled up in overtime.
Yeah, overtime.
So think about that. So you better start calling some different plays. And again, I don't know if you're going to see – if I'm Henry, I don't even want to run. I don't care about the 1,000 yards because the bottom line is you ain't going to be here next year anyway. He ain't coming back. Not for that experiment that they got going on right now. I'm telling you, there's got to be something more to it when you hear these players complaining like they do. There's got to be more than just being disgruntled. Because people didn't like playing in New England, but you never really heard them complain about how things were.
No.
Those players that they couldn't stand playing in New England, but you rarely heard them say that, anything publicly about it until they were through playing, really.
Well, that's because you win the Super Bowls.
Well,
when you win the Super Bowls, it's a little different.
When you win it, all this stuff.
When you win it, different.
The Super Bowl, they went there and they like, I can't deal with it. But their players right now, you're losing. It's the same thing, man. You got to. They got to change up some stuff, and really, Rand's got to start looking at some things and talking to Miss Amy about the way this coaching staff is. He's going to do it.
Yeah, Rodney, you right. Wesley
right.
what you trying to tell y'all?
Yeah, he was saying it, and they were winning when he was here. Like I said, it's just there's something going on there that is the losing is exasperating it, whatever.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm tongue-tied.
Frustrated, man. Everybody's frustrated.
No, I'm not so much frustrated as I am tired. You're just tired. I mean,
tired of the same
after
old
a while,
thing.
you keep seeing the same thing over and over. Like I said, it's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
You run Derrick Henry on first down how many times?
Shot Matthews, same thing. Yep, that's right.
I mean, come on, man. That's
was
the
that
definition of
16
insanity.
plays? Was that 16 plays?
Yes.
Called off?
Yeah. And it was everybody in the stadium knew it. Like it was so obvious every single time.
Right. So let's see if Red pulls the trigger. Let's see if he pulls the trigger when the season's over. Now that we know it's only 3 weeks left, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, like I said, if they don't pull the trigger, Mike Vrabel's probably going to have to do the same as the other two Mikes that had the same situation.
Yeah, I think that would have come down to really.
I think
they had that talk with him.
I think that Amy loves again. You saw him win the power struggle last year.
Yep.
I think that buys him a year, but that buys him the year with, hey, you're going to have to make some changes and you're going to have to stop promoting within. So think about it. Think about the coaches that you brought in. I feel like Charles London, I hate to see him go because he's working magic with Will Levis. And then I think your DB coach that we brought in, Harris, if that ain't your defensive coordinator, I hate to see him go because look at, and again, I feel like the technique and scheme that we see these players being in is a greater scheme, a greater thing. But I think from a coaching standpoint, he's doing a good job of what you got with that backfield. So you've got some good coaches that you brought from the outside. It's just you want to keep the coaches that's been here and in the trash. You want to keep them around. You've got to cut ties and let them go. And again, if the offense, so you moved up to ninth, either 8th or 9th in draft position tonight. Would have been 4th had you not pulled an upset last week.
Well, like I told you, J. Lou, the tank is back on this week.
The tank's back on.
That was an oopsie. That was an accident last week. Didn't mean to do that.
You're in the top 10. If you can continue to move up, at this point in time, you look for draft position because you want to move up, and your first 2 or 3 picks have got to be offensive line. Like, and most teams, I challenge everybody on here that watches this show and listens to us all the time, just go look at all the free agent offensive line pickup and see how great they actually are. You don't find a lot of good offensive linemen that are free agents because teams not letting them go. Cincinnati been struggling for what, 3 years trying to build it? So you've got to build it through the draft, and you spend some of this money getting some good skill players in here. And I think you right back to where, I mean, would you say, Ed, 6 or 7 games lost by 1 score? That's right in the thick of it. That's right in the thick of it. So
yeah, that was another one today. So
yes,
6 of the losses have been by 1 score. So
when you're 5-9,
yeah,
yes.
See how easy that could have been. We could be on the other side of this thing.
11-4.
That just goes to show you, man. I'm telling you, that's where the coaching comes in. The best coaches that can make the adjustments and can coach your guys on the fly and be like, man, no, change, whatever. Those are the teams that win those games.
I mean, but like you said, having a good offensive coordinator, good defense. I mean, look at Bill Belichick. He ruined really his quarterback when he decided he's going to lift.
Tebow, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, we need some good young offensive defensive minded coaches. I agree.
Yeah, well, like I said, I agree. You got to quit promoting from within because you got away with it once with Arthur Smith. You got away with it once.
Now you did the same thing 2 years in a row.
Yeah. And it ain't working.
It ain't working.
Thank y'all again, man, for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie down there, G with J. Lou.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the comments, the questions. He said, bring in Tebow to pray for this team. Yeah, it's going to take a lot.
It's going to take a lot of prayer.
A lot of prayer for this team.
A lot of prayer.
Yeah, let's see, man. 3 more weeks. Hold on. It's coming. Something's gonna happen. She's got to. Amy was at the game today, so maybe she left early. It was like couldn't watch it.
No,
She was at the end because she got to talk to Will Levis as they put him on
that's
the golf
right. They
cart
did
after the
say that.
thing.
That's
So
right.
Yeah. She gave him a hug and everything. So you know,
yeah.
Who are good up and coming coaches, coming minds? You know,
You got Detroit's Ben. What's his name?
the
Ben
offensive
Johnson,
coordinator.
offensive
Yeah,
coordinator. He's gonna be hot.
he's hot.
I don't know why nobody has yet to give Eric Bieniemy a chance. I mean, just look at Kansas City Chiefs. He probably was calling more of those offensive plays, and everybody want to give Andy Reid the credit.
Facts.
I think he's a good mind. You have to have a coach. Now, I think the unique thing about the DeMeco Ryans that we saw today, yes, he's a defensive-minded coach, but he's a former player, young. He came from a winning organization with the 49ers, and he's got an offensive coordinator that you can tell he don't put his hands in the pot at all. He lets them do it. So if you get a young and defensive-minded coach, you got to get somebody like him that's, hey, I can run the defense. If you don't do your offense and go score, I'll get the ball back for you. And literally, that's what his defense looked like today.
Yeah, but you got to be a legit defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
Vrabel may be defensive-minded, but he ain't a legit defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, Sam Howell.
He leads the league in passing.
Lead the league in passing.
Absolutely.
Who was
I
Sam
was
Howell?
say that.
Yes.
How many people knew who he was before this year?
Thank you.
That's all I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
That's all I'm saying.
That's what Eric Bieniemy can do. But Eric Bieniemy needs to be. He wants to be a head coach. He's
he'd
Probably
probably be promoted.
He might be the head coach in Washington. I think
I think so.
Rivera might be out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's right now. We're back to where we were when Wisenhunt was here. We're back to the same thing.
Back to it.
Looking for Malarkey to come and raise us about the doldrum so we can finally get some decent players and everything.
Right.
At least Malarkey did that.
He did. You gotta give him credit. He turned the team around.
He just didn't want to change coordinators like Vrabel.
And see what happened there.
Yep.
Man, again, thank y'all for supporting the show, for joining us tonight, man. Share the show, get us out there. Keep following us, man. We'll be back next week, Christmas Eve. Seahawks come to town. From good to old great. Not. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate all the comments, the questions, man. Joe Exotic Smash Mouth needs to return. We got two. We just don't have a line on the block. We got two running backs.
Yeah, you got two running backs, but you just don't have a good line.
Line on the block. So trying to smash mouth with a line that's light in the pocket.
Yeah.
Hey, but we appreciate y'all, man. Join us next week. We are out of here. Peace.